Good morning and welcome to today's verse. Today's verse comes to us from the Gospel of Luke, Luke 17, verse 10. And it says this, the words of the Lord speaking as he's teaching his disciples a lesson. He says this, "So likewise you, when you have done all these things which you are commanded, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done what was our duty to do." This verse teaches us as believers that we are to serve and to obey God until our work is done. Notice, if you will, that the verse begins with "so likewise," as to point to what came before it. And what came before it, the Lord uses an example of a servant that is feeding the sheep and plowing the fields. And at the end of the day, in the evening, he is to serve the household by feeding them and waiting on tables. As a servant, he serves his master. They are not providing a service such as when we go out and hire a contractor and he does a job for us, and at the end of that job, we pay him for the service that he's provided. No, what a servant is doing, he is doing because it is his duty to his master. There's no room for pride or arrogance or boasting. How many of us actually serve the Lord with diligence and expect nothing in return, no recognition, no praise, no payment, etc.? This is especially challenging, I think, especially in the ministries that are very prosperous, where the servant is rewarded with material stuff, such as cars, houses, planes, and big bank accounts. The temptation tends to come where payment and recognition or reward is expected and demanded even before the service is provided. I think I will never forget during one program that we had in seminary, and they had invited all these famous big name preachers. And one of the preachers that they invited to be on the program, they wanted him to say the prayer. And he told the person that was setting up the event that he didn't pray for less than $500. Now, if it was me, I would tell him, stay at home and pray by yourself. I would never have invited him. I think Billy Graham had the right attitude about being a servant. When he was interviewed about death and heaven, he said that when he died, he didn't want people to say great things about him. He only wanted to hear one thing from the Lord when he met him in heaven, and that was he wanted to hear the Lord say, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant." And then Billy said, "I don't know if I will hear that." Now, some might think that's false humility on Billy's part. I mean, after all, he's Billy Graham. But I think he counted himself, as we find here in this verse, as an unworthy servant who had been given the privilege to serve his master. And as a friend reminded me, he would always say that we're never more like Jesus than when we are serving others, because Jesus came to be a servant. May we all recognize that in any kingdom, there's but one king, even in the kingdoms of men. And so we have the privilege of serving he who is the King of Kings. So may we recognize that what a privilege it is that we are unworthy servants that have been given the privilege to serve the Master, the King of Kings. To God be the glory for the great things he has done. I pray that you would meditate on this verse. It would be a word of encouragement to you as you go throughout your day. It is the weekend. Make sure that you get out and do something special with your family and for yourself. Sunday is coming. Enter into a place of worship with the saints of God. Depart to serve Monday morning. God's willing, we'll see you right back here. Yes, on today's verse. Amen.